Kerr, you're mute. Can't hear you.
Hi everybody, sorry for the difficulties this evening. I've been having difficulties with my laptop. Ricky's been having difficulties trying to log in. So we're 13 minutes late. I really apologise. And the intro didn't go that well either. But I'm here tonight myself with Ricky. Gary's somewhere else. I don't know if he's, like I said earlier, if he's in the booze or if he's sunbathing. I think he's seen he's at a conference, but who knows where Gary is. But I'm joined tonight with Ricky. Ricky was having problems getting into the stream earlier on, and I've just had problems trying to log into the stream. I thought I was live and we weren't live, so me and Ricky were talking away without anybody replying, which I thought was quite strange. But anyway, Ricky, I'll ask you again, how are you?
Not good, mate. So we weren't even live, or that's just live now.
My computer's playing up as well. It must be this heat in Paisley heat. We're not used to it, Ricky. We're
live now, man. I've got us on in the background as well. I've got the iPad on top of a computer, and I'm speaking away like a pair of dummies, man. Honestly, we've got Dumb and Dumber on the pod tonight. That's for sure. Gary will be wanting a pair of eyes after he watches the start of this podcast, man.
I've just done a 12-hour shift in the vaccination centre, so Ricky. So my head's busting. I don't know about you.
No problem, pal, man. No problem, pal.
Oh, and just to say there, Snipers put in a $4.99.
Nice.
Gift. Cheers, Aldo. I appreciate it. I appreciate that for everybody. Obviously, we don't ask for anything, but thanks, Aldo. Really appreciate that, and hope I know you get a new job coming up, so hopefully you enjoy that and it goes well for you. But anyway, Ricky, we'll go back to the fixtures that came out. You were talking about earlier on. You think it's a very easy start for us?
No. I think it's opposite. That's not what I said. So go back to what I said, mate. I'm not saying nothing's an easy start with this team, mate. We've got Russell Martin. We've had a slow start in the transfer window, so come on, it's nothing's easy with Rangers just now. Nothing. You can't say this is easy, that's easy. We fell into that trap last season. It was hilarious with Barry Ferguson. He's got 9 games. He's going to win 9 games. The players, he's going to win 8 games. He's going to win 7 games. He's going to win 6 games. Until I see a brand new team playing for Glasgow Rangers, Kerr, nothing is easy for Glasgow Rangers. We've got a team full of effing losers right now. So until they're replaced and I see a proper Rangers team that I'm confident and I'm excited to watch with players, nothing is easy for this Rangers team. All you can say from my point of view is I looked at the fixtures today. Everyone was assuming that we were going to be probably going to Tynecastle, Pittodrie, Easter Road, first game of the season. Okay, it's Motherwell, first time since Paul McGuinn. Remember when? So that's very interesting to see how that goes. And then the fixtures, it's not a case of they look easy or the fixtures are hard. It's a case of the fixtures are there. You play the same teams away and home anyway, and it works out the same every 2 seasons. So looking at it on paper for me, if Russell Martin can get his message over early and get the players playing the type of football he wants to play, then the fixtures do look good to give him that good start going into the Celtic game. But listen, the proof will be in the pudding, mate, because every team in Scotland has had us on toast for the last couple of seasons. So unless that changes and we start see us going on a run, it's easy to talk on podcasts and go, oh, this is easy, this is hard, this is this is that.
Yeah,
the proof will be in the pudding, mate. And me and you pretty much speak the same, and we'll have done for years. So the proof will be in the pudding once the first game of the season starts. But listen, we've got a massive match before the fixtures. We even get into the week fixtures. Panathinaikos, I mean, everyone's acting like it's Barcelona. It's no Barcelona. We'll get to that later. But that tie will be decided before Russell Martin goes into the first game of the season. So it'll be very interesting. So what's your take on the fixtures, Kev?
To be honest with you, Ricky, I just feel every game's going to be difficult for Rangers because we've seen over the past few seasons we play maybe St Mirren, Dundee, Motherwell, and we think that's 3 points. We've done that way, come on, Motherwell and Ibrox won this, we've got a few games left and we come on the league. Motherwell came to Ibrox and won. St Mirren last season beat us, I think it was twice, didn't they? So once at Ibrox, once at St Mirren, and D we've always kind of struggled against for some reason. I don't know why. We've always struggled against them. I just feel sometimes we look at teams and it's not really disrespect because we should be beating them, but we don't. And then we play Celtic and they've been beating us quite a lot recently over the years. But last season we had the better, but it didn't get us anywhere because we were playing well against Celtic, but we weren't playing well against anybody else. Do you know that way? In the last 5 games of the season was kind of poor. It was poor because we weren't playing for anything, and it would just be I can't remember the last 5 games to be honest with you. I went to, I think I missed one of them, but I went to most of them. It's like, I don't really know what's happening here, but I mean, I heard Russell Martin talk. He was asked about it, and he was probably right when he said we have to prepare for everybody, no matter who we're playing against. But pre-season is going to be important for us, Ricky, because by all accounts, Max Aaron's been agreed with Max Aaron, which is really good. But I don't know if it was just me, but I was hoping for maybe 1 or 2 more in by this time. I know the players aren't back yet, Ricky. I know you're getting itchy feet. But I just want to see more movement because I'm like you. I don't think, and every manager comes in and says, "Oh, look at the players I've got and see how we go." But if Russell Martin's going to go with that squad of players we've got, they're not going anywhere because they're not good enough.
No, I totally agree, mate. I couldn't agree more. And I was very in much the same camp as you until I heard his interview today. His interview today gave me a bit more confidence. It feels like I was really concerned, and then I heard him speak today on Sky, and then I heard his Rangers TV interview. And when he actually said, "Look, guys, I'm excited to see the squad back on Monday. They're going to have a few academy players who are going to come in to make up the numbers." Then he's got the international players back a week later. And I think these guys know what they're doing. And every single transfer window as a Rangers fan, we want 5 signings in before the end of the first 2 weeks. Like, it's 1 week. Transfer window's been open 1 week. And we're shopping in a different market from Hearts and Motherwell. And I mean, they're signing players from bloody fairgrounds and divisions we've never heard of and stuff like that, because that's how brutal football is nowadays. You know, we're looking at international players that have been playing and are all on holiday and stuff like that. And if it is true that we've got Max Aarons, is it Max Aarons in the door today? I mean, him, he used to play. I remember when he played for Bournemouth. I remember he was exciting as anything when he came through, and it looks like he's tailed off a little bit. But Martin is, I think, is the right manager to basically get him back on track. And I mean, listen, everyone's been going mental about Tavernier. Tavernier's going to stay. Tavernier's going to be the captain. But if we're spending money on a right back and it's 7 million, I mean, they're saying, okay, we've brought him in a loan maybe to start with, but we'll have to pay that 7 million at the end of the year if he does well for Rangers. So he's not coming in to be back up to Tavernier, and that's what should have happened ages ago. So if that's not a statement from this board and Russell Martin to Rangers supporters who are like the Tavernier situation, I mean, Dessers is on a plane to Athens. I mean, they're talking some amount of rubbish on X about he's signed and he's in the airport. The guy's coming back from his honeymoon with his wife, and they're saying that he's on his way to Athens to sign for AEK Athens. It's been absolutely bizarre, that story, but that's massive. But to be honest with you, Kerr, we still need. I've been itchy. I've been worried. I've been concerned about the slowness that we've reacted, because I was hoping that Purdy and Felwell had a plan before they came in, and it was just a case of Russell Martin looking at it and going, "Oh, I really like this player. I like that player." But it's understandable it takes a week or a couple of weeks for them to look and go through it and go, "Okay, this player, that player." They've got to be thorough, you know, because they're going to get absolutely slaughtered if it goes tits up. So they've got to be thorough when they're going through everything, Kerr. So if it takes a bit of time, I've always said I'm going to judge these guys like when we're playing Panathinaikos, because we'll speak about that tie soon, mate. But they have to give Russell Martin the tools to give him a chance. Our team right now, our squad, is short of a right winger, short of a couple of centre backs. Aaron's coming in is brilliant at right back because we need a whole new. We basically need a whole new defence. So if that's coming in at right back, and we could do with a proper striker as well. So if these guys are coming in before we play Panathinaikos, then we can't really moan. We've got to just trust the process. But it is frustrating because every day you're wanting to see someone with a blue shirt, and the only person that's been so far is Lyle Cameron. So what's your take on that? How slow it's been with the transfer market?
I can understand it, Ricky, for both sides, obviously. I can see it can take time because some players you may be interested in, their teams are unwilling maybe to let them go until they get a replacement in the door. So it can be further down the transfer window before maybe say, right, we've got somebody in now, you can have him. It can be about maybe money, as most things usually are. Or it can just be maybe get one or two irons in the fire and maybe thinking. I just hope they don't think what I'm trying to say here. I hope they don't feel to wait until what happened with Panathinaikos. I know there's all those saying anything it's go batter them, but I'm 50-50. I know they're not the greatest side like you say, but I still got it's going to be tough. They're not going to make it easy for us, and it's going to be war, and I've seen us go to Europe before and do well, but I've also seen us going to teams who we expect to beat and we get our arse felt, you know what I mean? We come back a tail between their legs, you know. So I think it's one of the ones where we just hope we can get through it. That's all I can say at this moment in time. Until I see, and probably not be confident until I see a team sheet for that game, Ricky. That's the way I'm at. But
Kerr, give Sniper that $5 back so he can work on his spelling.
I think you're trying to say Paraffin
Finland.
Listen.
That is class, man.
That's a class. I know. He's funny. So no, I just think it's going to take its time, like you said, and but we're just because of what's happened over the past few seasons, because of what's happened with the takeover, we're all impatient. Football fans usually are. Listen, we've seen a lot of teams in the SPL sign players. Some players I've never heard of. To be honest with you, Kilmarnock have signed, Motherwell signed, and these are the type of guys last season who scored against us. Do you know what I mean? Somebody never heard that big long ball who scores against us. So you just hope that we can sign some players in. I think they may also be waiting to see what happens with Askey. I think they get a good offer for Nico. I think he's away, and I think they could use that money to bring more in. I think it's a case of moving the pieces, Ricky. It's like a jigsaw, like I said.
Kerr, the start of the window is always very difficult, mate. So, I mean, these players are on holiday, except for the ones that are playing in this mad World Cup nonsense, whatever you want to call it.
That's total bollocks, isn't it?
Oh, it's
I've not watched the game.
I've not watched absolutely dreadful. I put on Man City versus T-Bag United or whatever who they were playing, and they won 2-0, and it was like a glorified. It was like 100 degrees outside, and it was so bad. I mean, this is the way football's going. But getting back to Rangers, it's difficult to sign players that you want that are quality at this time of the year, Kerr. It's very, very hard. The guys are on holiday, and there's probably deals actually being done, but it's a case of, look, I'm on holiday, wait until we get back on Wednesday, and then we'll get the deal done and the agent and everything. And I understand that clubs get itchy and agents get itchy because other people are calling, going, oh, we want him, we want this player and stuff like that. But it is a very, very difficult time of year. Russell Martin was super calm today. I thought a lot of people were swagging his haircut and stuff like that. Get a grip, guys. He looked staunch as anything. He looked beautiful with the long locks and the curtains and the new Umbro Rangers gear on. I thought he looked tremendous. So leave his haircut alone, boys, man. That's called style. Me and Curry were arguing on X today. I was calling Curry a baldy, but he assures me that he's got some hair. So we've got to see. He wants to make a bet. So we're going to make a bet on that to see if Curry's got hair. But Russell Martin looked tremendous today. But getting back, it takes time to do these deals, Kerr. It's no easy, you know. Players are on vacation. They don't want to. People are getting excited because Lauren Shankland is training in Dubai with Tavernier and stuff like that. But that means absolutely nothing. So it's going to be a very interesting couple of weeks, 3 weeks. We've got 4 or 5 weeks until we play the first tie. So I think we are going to see a lot of movement, and we've got to trust these guys to say what they're doing. But as for Panathinaikos, Panathinaikos have not been in Europe for 10 years, Kerr. Last year was the first time they've been in Europe for 10 years. So everyone is getting way too excited with how good this team is. It's absolutely ridiculous. We beat better teams last year. They were in the Conference League last year. They had a good season to get second in the Greek League, but they're miles away from Olympiacos, who are the main team in the Greek League. So for us, we have to take care of them. For me, I'm going to give Russell Martin as much slack as I possibly can as a Rangers fan, but he has to take care of Panathinaikos because it becomes so difficult after that to get in the Europa League, and we are the favourite team. So for me, if the board, director of football, Purdy and Martin can't work out how to beat Panathinaikos, it'll be a bad start to their Rangers career. They've got 2 matches to really, and it's not about playing pretty football and being amazing and all that. It's about, you went to an interview and you told the Rangers board you knew what was wrong with this squad and you knew what was wrong with this team. So you're a better manager than Barry Ferguson, so prove it. Get a team settled and get a team sorted to take out the Greeks. And if you do that, I'm all in on Russell Martin, but he has to do that, and it's so important to Rangers that we get past that. I don't expect us to qualify for the Champions League here, but I expect us to get past Panathinaikos, and I expect us to be in the Europa League as a bare minimum, because if we're not, then all the money these Americans are putting in is an absolute disaster, because they're going to have to put it in again next year and put it in again, because there's just not enough money in Scottish football with the Conference League for Rangers to sustain itself with the players they've got just now.
I think that's a bit harsh, and he has to get by Panathinaikos, considering he's only going to have a couple of weeks, and I don't know what the deadline is. Somebody can maybe tell us in the chat the deadline the deadline, the date to sign players before they can play in the qualifier. Must be a certain date to sign somebody before they can play against Panathinaikos. So I think that's tough to give them that kind of. I think the leeway might be after that. You have to give them time. Listen, I don't know Panathinaikos. I don't know how they play. I've not watched them for years, so I can't tell you any players. I can't tell you what they're like. But I just imagine, doesn't matter what they're like just now, I think it will be tough for us, because it's always tough. Qualifiers are always tough because you're still starting to bed in yourself. You're still trying to get your information across to players, you're getting new players maybe bedding in, old players try to work in our system. It can be difficult, do you know what I mean? So that's how somebody mentioned, Aaron mentioned about pre-season. Pre-season, he has to use pre-season as in he's playing Panathinaikos in games. That's just set up the way he wants to play. And Paul says about a week before Panathinaikos game, so that's maybe less time than we were thinking, do you know what I mean? So, but he has to use pre-season like we're playing Panathinaikos. He can't set up and just say, right, take it easy there. He has to set up a formation like we're going to use this in Europe away, we're going to use this at home, and because you've not got a lot of time that game, you said yourself, you might have a wee way for that game. Well, I said that, but you might have a wee way somewhere. But after that, fans get annoyed, fans get on his back, and people start to think, right, this has happened, that's how, and then you maybe lose to one of the first game of the season. What happens then? Do you know what I mean? You're sitting up here, and then next minute you're back down here. And he's getting abuse, and the players are getting abuse. So I think whatever we do in pre-season has to be serious. I know it will be, but I think it has to be more than it has been in the past few seasons. But it's all a case of just time will tell. I mean, we could have had an easier draw, but I don't know.
Yeah, but Kerr, they were in the Conference League last year, and we got to the quarterfinals of the Europa League, mate. So let's get. Our problem has not been in Europe, so we need to stop pretending that Panathinaikos or Barcelona or Leeds Leeds, Man City or like one of these. Like it's a tough. All of these games are tough at that time of the season. But Dynamo Kiev was a brutal match. They were rubbish, and we couldn't beat them last season, right? So all these games are super, super tough, but they're also super important. So if we're a serious football club, we need to give them the players to be able to get through against these Greeks. The Greeks are no happy with playing Rangers. I know that for a fact. I've listened to a few podcasts with people speaking, few Greek journalists and stuff like that, and they're devastated they've got Glasgow Rangers because they see Rangers as a team that's done well in Europe the last sort of like 5-6 years, They've got to the final. Like last season, they got to the quarterfinals. They were unlucky against Bilbao and stuff, and knocked out Fenerbahce. So we're not I see a lot of people speaking like we're a Warburton team. It's just like sort of like first game in Europe. Like, you've got to be fair to these players. Since Gerrard, Europe has been our bread and butter. It's in the league we've struggled. So I think that we should be getting past Panathinaikos if he's back properly. I mean, that first signing is a good signing. I mean, that's quality. That's taking the squad to the next level in the right back position. So if we can do that in another 5 or 6 positions in the actual first team, and then add some squad players, then suddenly you've got. I'm backing Russell Martin. I'm actually really behind him. The last few weeks and stuff like that, Kerr, when you look into everything, and if I said this months ago on the pod, I thought we needed a British manager, and when you hear him talk, he talks really, really well. Now, I think that'll get across to a lot of the players in our. I think a lot of the players did listen to Barry Ferguson, but I just don't think he was tactically like that astute to get the best out of these players. I think Russell Martin has got a lot more experience, and he's able to communicate what he wants early. So the proof will be in the pudding. But I mean, it's a few weeks away now. But it'll be good to get the players back on Monday, and we'll all be watching the Rangers TV videos and the training and everything like that, and we'll be excited again. So we just want the real football now back here, but hopefully a few signings. He's promised us a few signings in the next 2 weeks, so let's see.
Yep. I mean, Paul's asking, do you think we'll postpone our third game to prepare for Panathinaikos? I mean, if that's the new rule now, the new rule's been brought in, obviously, it's only been brought in because I don't know why.
No, but Panathinaikos is.
I think Russell Martin
is before. Panathinaikos is. That third game is that Panathinaikos. The second leg is on the 27th or the 28th, I think, of July, and the first league fixtures is the 3rd of August. Care, so that won't be the Panathinaikos game.
It will only be postponing that. Then that maybe the next one if they get through. Then who knows? But also asked a question. Like somebody asked a question, so kind of thing. Is it? Do you think there's a chance that Tab will play centre back?
Oh, come on, man! Honestly.
Obviously Aaron's coming in.
No. I think people are absolutely. I think that's a Joshua Barry special. Ross will come on the pod with a baseball bat out, but I think that's the kids with the Shibuto players out on a board coming out with nonsense like that. Tav is not a centre back. We need John Souttar is not a centre back in a proper winning Rangers team. A Rangers centre back is Amoruso, Richard Goff, John Brown, Bugera, David Weir. That's a Rangers centre back. Players like that is a Rangers centre back. Not a. Now, for me, John Souttar has a place in a Rangers squad. Now he's probably down to 4th or 5th choice, but in a proper third choice for me. A proper Rangers team has 2 proper Rangers centre backs. So for me, that's that's no good.
No,
what about you?
I agree with you. Ross is asking if I'm on the pod, so I'm going to try and send him this link. But also, 2 seconds to go and send him this. But obviously, Martin was speaking about John Souttar. So what's your take on Souttar? I mean, everybody Ricky wants to play for a country. Every player. No. Let me finish. Every player, every professional footballer wants to play for a country. They do. But a fan perspective is totally different. So if it was me, I would have went for operation, right? And if it was you, you'd have went for operation. Any Rangers fan would have probably agreed, but because he didn't, and he played the 2 meaningless friendlies. I mean, if it's a World Cup qualifier, a European qualifier, you don't mind that. But it's 2 friendlies, and one was like Liechtenstein, which was pointless. He delayed. Now, you might be back, you might not be back. And he's supposed to be having contract talks, but I don't know if that's stalled, but I've not heard much about that either. So what's your take in this situation, sir?
The contract talks is completely irrelevant. It's got nothing to do with it. Okay, the guy wants to play for his country, and Russell Martin commends that, and they say that they understood the situation at the end of the season, but it's absolute bullshit, Kerr, right? The international players are back in 2 weeks. 1 week on Monday, the international players are back, right? John Souttar should have been fit for me, John Souttar should have been one of the first players through the door on Monday to meet the new manager, to be setting an example. As we all go on about Man City's picked 4 captains for the season. We all go on about this guy could be the captain, that guy could be the captain. John Souttar is one of the players you would consider now an experienced player in our squad that is a captain. He plays for Glasgow Rangers. He represents Glasgow Rangers. He should have been first through that door on Monday, setting an example for the young boys. This nonsense that he's going to be fit for Panathinaikos, where he's not trained, he's not done anything, he's going to be limping into the match, he's done nothing to do with the tactical stuff. So how does he know what's going to happen with Butland with the ball the way that Russell Martin wants to play? And this is all sacrificed because he's playing Diddy Gate. He didn't even play in the second game from Scotland. That's how much disrespect Steve Clarke has for Rangers, right? There's no communication between the medical team, between Rangers and Scotland to say, okay, John is going to play in the first match, but he's not going to play in the second match. John Souttar could have played in the first match, Kerr. Pulled out of the squad after that, done his bit for his country to keep the manager sweet, Steve Clarke. Steve Clarke could have been respectful to Rangers, and even though he hates us, and send him for the operation that day, and he would have been back for training, because pre-season training is just as important as this first European match. He's let Rangers down. He's let himself down as far as I'm concerned. And as far as I'm concerned, John Souttar is now 4th, 5th choice to play for Rangers, mate.
Even Ross, how you doing, mate? Thanks for joining us.
How are you?
Good, mate.
Not bad. We're just talking about John Souttar. What's your taking this John Souttar playing for playing for his country in 2 friendlies rather than going for that? We didn't know when the operation was, and Rangers can't stop any player playing for a country. No team can. That's a poor decision. It's up to the international medical team to send them back if they're unfit. But there's been a lot made about it today. What's your take on it?
What I would say on it is, if there's one player in this Rangers team that you want to get a good, full, proper pre-season to make sure he's ready to go, it's John Souttar, innit? So I get Russell Martin's take on he wants to play international football and every player's got the right to play it. But when you're looking at Champions League qualifications, what did get knocked out last year cost us? 5 million quid, did we say in the end up? So you've got a guy who's going to come back and his first game of pre-season might be a game that's worth X amount of millions of quid. Doesn't really wash with me, mate, to be honest. No. The Scotland, if Scotland were playing in a European tournament through the summer or something, you would say maybe, but no for a couple of friendlies against bang average teams. It's not as if they were playing against Brazil and Argentina in friendlies where it was worth your while going and getting experience. So for me, he should certainly, I think he plays in a pivotal position in a Russell Martin team. The centre halves need to be good on the ball and know where their centre midfielder's going to drop into and where the goalie's going to be. All the passing and beating the press starts with the back three, the goalie, the 2 centre halves. And I just think that him missing pre-season could affect the whole season for us, because if you can't get him fit, people always say it's the most important part of the season's pre-season. And you're an injury-prone player that's going to rock up weeks after everybody else.
The sniper game in our super chat saying, even Mr. Clarke, he seems to have missed you, Ross. So we're also talking earlier, Ross, about Tav. Somebody mentioned Tav into centre back. Ricky nearly fell off his chair. What's your take on that? Aaron said that again, like Tav and Seattle will be a centre back pair. Do you see Tav in here playing centre back? I think he's got the ability to play there myself. Because his legs are away for full back. He's good in there and he can pass the ball, but I don't see it as being long term. I've just been as maybe until you get somebody else in.
I think we seen it a couple of times last season, didn't we? Where he dropped in there and played semi-reasonably. But for me, Tav, if you can get a right back in and you've got Sterling coming back, they're saying about October, Tav's going to hang about for his last season, and he's going to finish his contract. So you're not going to get rid of him. But I would like him to be emergency cover. If the boy Aarons is going to play right back, of a 4 or potentially of a 3. I don't think you want James Tavernier being your starting centre half. To be honest, he's defending susceptible at the best of times. Never mind putting him in there. I think, to be honest, Keir, you want 2 or 3 centre halves, but you want 2 that are your 2 centre halves that play week in, week out with the same goalie behind them, and they become that becomes your wee triangle in there. Because, as I say, watching some of Martin's stuff, that's where the quick attacking play comes from. The goalie taking it in the 2 centre halves, knowing where to be, when to be, and where the next pass is going to come from.
We'll talk about goalies, Ricky. Do you think Butland will still be here next season? I know I'll take that to Ross in a minute. You can answer it as well, because I know he's taking Butland already. But do you think Butland, because Martin has mentioned Jack, maybe have a look at him and keep him. Is that due to maybe no interest in him, or is that due to maybe he thinks he can get some help?
No, I think he is going to keep him, but you don't know, because it's the players are not even back yet, Kerr. So you've got to see how pre-season pans out and stuff like that. But I mean, early indications are he's going to stay. Now, the way that Martin plays is pretty much the Butland just rolls it out to one of the centre backs, and they take it in the box, and then they start to invite the press to try and play through the press. That's the sort of football he's going to play. So maybe he's in his head, he thinks, okay, Butland's a good shot stopper. Is he a good shot stopper? I mean, Rangers fans have not seen that the last season, but in people's opinion, that's his job. So maybe he's looked at the whole squad, and he is actually going to give Butland a chance. But it's no horse I would be backing, to be honest with you, man. I think it's a dodgy horse to be putting money on if you're Russell Martin and you're the new Rangers manager. I think he needs almost a brand new 11, mate, and I've said that, and I'll stick by that 100%. I think Butland is a huge problem, especially the problem with Butland is if you're trying to play just to give it out to the centre backs and then they start inviting the press. Even for him to have the ability to go over and see something early and play that, he doesn't have that ability. I mean, Butland, if he sees that, he tries to play that pass, but he kicks it out the park, and then the team's attacking against you. And that's what we saw even when Comont was trying to play that sort of football. That's what we saw for the last sort of 2 seasons with Butland. His first season, he was good at shot stopping, he was a good goalkeeper, and then towards the end of the season, he made a lot of mistakes, and then he carried that into his second season. So I don't think we can be relying on Butland, but it'll be interesting to see if he is the goalkeeper when we play Motherwell in Panathinaikos.
Ross, on Jack Butland, and I know you've put a big saying, Jack, but obviously they've been linked now in Ramsdale, which I don't see happening. I think one, he's on too much money, and 2, last season at Southampton, he got caught quite a lot putting it for the back of his feet as well. He gave a ball away. I think it was about 4 or 5 times, maybe more than that. But he is a better keeper, I was saying, Jack Butland, but I don't see him coming in. But what's your take on Butland? Do you think we should give him a go, or do you think we should bring in somebody else?
I think if you want to play the way Russell Martin wants to play, you need to have a goalie that's quite assured with the ball at his feet. That's the word I would use, quite assured. Happy to take the ball. If your centre back gets caught with the press, the goalie's got to be able to make an angle, got to be able to know where to position himself. And for me, that's one of Jack Butland's biggest weaknesses, is his actual spatial awareness round about his goal. You look at the goal Kyogo scored in the Old Firm game, where he rolled it into the middle of the goals for about fucking 150 yards, and Butland never get near it. I think Butland's spatial awareness and positioning, he comes out to narrow the angle and leaves one side of the goal open constantly. And I think in the Russell Martin way of playing, you need to be aware of your position, and also you need to, as you say, Ramsdale got caught last season, mate. You need to be able to take the ball and be comfortable to take it first time and spread it. And I don't think either of our 2 goalies that we've got the now can do that. You noticed it happened twice last season off the top of my head when Liam Kelly went in, who's arguably better with the ball at his feet than Butland, against Hibs and against St Mirren. Was it the big St Mirren striker put it out of the bar, and against Hibs they tried to dink him? So no, for me, Butland's not the answer. We spoke about this. His basic shot stopping and his ability to perform. He's never had a big Old Firm performance yet, and he's been here for 2 seasons.
Just like that, when he came through the door then, for the first 6 months we've seen, when he was outstanding, to be fair. He didn't made a mistake and he was saving everything. Do you think that was luck? Or do you think that was just...
No, that's his career, Kerr. He's always been like that. He was like that at Stoke. If you listen to the podcast before he came up to... If you listen to the podcast before he came to Scotland, that's what they all said. They said, if you get the best Jack Butland, you've got like a world-class goalkeeper that's got the potential to play for England. And that's the level he showed when he first came up. And then he turned into... But they said he's so Jekyll and Hyde. And if you get the Hyde situation, where he looks like he's never been a goalkeeper, and that's what we've had now going on 13, 14 months. That's how bad he's been performing. I mean, he looks good. He's in pre-season. He's training with Bruno Alves. A bit of a weird... I don't know if you saw the pictures with Bruno Alves. Bruno Alves is punting shots into him in Portugal or wherever he is. It's totally bizarre, but it's a weird situation with the guy, man. I mean, another weird situation to speak about, Kerr, is who the hell is going to be the goalkeeping coach? Has anyone told Russell Martin we don't have a goalkeeping coach?
Can I put forward Ross Clark?
Ross Clark. Ross, what's going on, mate? We've got no goalkeeping coach. Russell Martin's turning up with one guy, handing out the water bottles, and that's it. He's doing everything.
I've not got a clue, man. Mel's just asked in the chat, I'll say to you, Ross, you can ask you, Ricky. Miofsky used to play with Aberdeen. He's up for transfer, available for $2.5 million. Would you look at signing him? Because he has scored goals in SPL before.
Who did you say there?
Miofsky used to be at Aberdeen.
Because of comments, we're talking about Mitov, mate. I'm like, he scored goals.
No, Mitov. I like Mitov. He's a good keeper as well, Mitov.
On Miofsky, can be decent, but a lot of the time he's no great. He's had good games against them, to be fair, but he's another one of the ones that comes for every cross, and 3 out of 5 he doesn't get near.
I mean, Miofsky, the striker, drink.
On Miofsky, I was just kept touching on him first. Miofsky was good. Miofsky was good for Aberdeen. I don't know if the way we are going to play now is going to suit a striker that likes to run off defenders, but because I think we're going to press teams and teams are going to sit even deeper. I don't know that we're going to have space to run into. I think we'll be looking more at a kind of complete number 9 who can take the ball, wheeze back to goal and turn defenders or bring other people into the play. I don't know that Miofsky, if you watch his goal compilations for Aberdeen, which I did, a lot of them are just running off the back of defenders and breaking through and going through one-on-one. Very good finisher, right enough.
That's the way they played, Ross, wasn't it? But they always hit teams in the break at times because they were sitting deep. But would you take him, Nicky?
No, I said at the start, I seen going towards the end of last season that he might be an option for us to bring in, but it depends who we move on. Depends what happens with Egerman, Kerr. I mean, I wouldn't be against us having, if it looks like we're going to accept money and there's going to be decent offers for him, I wouldn't be against us having 3 or 4 different options to go into next season. And whether that one of them is Vardy, one of them's Shankland, one of them's Miofsky, one of them is but just you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Danilo is training hard and everything. He looks like he's came back early and he wants to get fit and he wants to prove himself to Russell Martin. But I don't think we're going to be able to even get him out on loan. So he's going to be one of the options. Egerman, if the money's there for him, if someone's offering 15 million, then I can see them cashing in on him. So who's going to be? You need different options. You need 2 or 3 different options on top of Danilo. So it's going to be very interesting going towards the end of the window. All this talk about Dessers as well, I find quite bizarre. I think that's like a lot of nonsense being talked from like a few Greek websites and stuff like that. I don't think that's ever been as far along as what's been said on X and stuff like that. It's quite bizarre, some of the stuff that's been coming out of Greece. And it was very strange that they agreed a deal with Dessers before they actually agreed a deal with Rangers, which was quite weird. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with Dessers and Egerman. So, but if we get rid of both of them, then would Miofsky, I think it would be at 2.5 million. I think it would be a decent option to look at for sure.
I second this. We're going to have to just wait and see what happens. I think we need maybe one, maybe even two strikers, depending who goes. If Dessers goes, if Agaman goes, we might need to maybe 3 strikers. Cause we don't want to go to anybody else. But also, I'm going to turn my attention to the comment for Rangers, Ross regarding John Brown, and obviously eventually stuck up for him and said that SFA blah 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 about hypocrisy there, coming out and fined him £3,000, but it was just how much it cost the fine. It was the way they said it, what they said, but I mean, there's Tom Boyd said it in the past, Arden Mills said it in the past. I mean, what's your take on this? I just think the SFA are just opening a can of worms for themselves because they've got other club channels saying stuff and there's nothing done. They get me, but Hibs got a warning. But John Brown says something which, to me, we've all probably said at the same time, we don't work for Rangers TV right enough. I don't know if he does, he was just a guess, but because of the goal that was scored and they didn't say they said it wasn't a goal. I mean, is it SFA just as usual try to, because it's Rangers, or is it talking sense for a change?
My take on this is Rangers now seem to have a new head of comms who's got a bit about them, and they're not going to be bullied. I thought the statement was really good all throughout it, but particularly the last paragraph, which more or less says, "We're watching you, SFA." They've now opened up scrutiny of all their decisions to see who's being treated different for the other, and they're essentially saying, if this crops up again and you come after us, but we've got evidence to go after others. Mate, I wouldn't even pay the fine, to be honest. I would make them take me to court for it. I would. I know it's a free. See what I don't understand with the SFA. It's like it's that constant need to soak up to certain other teams in the place that, see, for the sake of $3,000, was it worth opening up this can of worms for themselves? That to me is the different. If they'd find you $300,000, but for £3,000, is it worth going against a new group of investors that have got a massive team behind them and they'll have the best of the best legal teams and stuff like that? I don't understand why they've opened up that can of worms for $3,000. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Do you think that came from the SFA directly, Ricky, or do you think they were pressuring it by maybe other members of the committee?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's just this has went on since the COVID years, man. I mean, they just love taking a stab at Rangers, It's absolutely pathetic. Urban Welsh was going on about chopping up Morelos. I mean, he was saying it as a joke and stuff like that, but nothing was done against Hibs at the time. I mean,
he also says sticky buns. No, no,
exactly, man. I mean, it's been going on. It goes on all the club channels. But Kerr, who gives a shit, mate? I mean, are we that? I get we have the right to be pissed off because it's one rule for other teams and one rule for us, but it's Scottish football. That's what makes Scottish football. Let us have a bit of crack with each other. Let us, I remember watching it on Rangers TV. I mean, John Brown is actually one of the good pundits on Rangers TV. He's not that eloquent the way he talks, but he's authentic the way he speaks. He speaks from the heart. And he's been there and done it, and he understands a good Rangers team, and he's pissed off with the performance after 10 minutes. He's like one of us, He's grown up in the 9 in a row. He was in the team, Jesus, for Christ's sake, during 9 in a row. So he understands what a good Rangers team is, what a bad Rangers team is, and he speaks with passion. 10 minutes into the game, he's like, "Oh, this is rubbish. Our passing needs to be this. Our passing needs to be that." He's not one of these Andy Littles or one of these other pundits that just... that I shouldn't even be on Rangers TV. John Brown deserves to be on Rangers TV. He was speaking from the heart. The decision was so ridiculous, and the fact that they've tried to back it up and sweep it under the carpet and try and go on about that. What worries me is this angle thing. Oh, well, the angles, there's no definitive angle that it was over the line. For Christ's sake, man, all the neutrals down in England were like, "How's that not a goal, man? That's so ridiculous." The ball was like, it's so ridiculous. Like Lampard's goal in the World Cup. is so far over the line. And for the SFA to go after Rangers for that, I mean, but they were sticking the fingers up to us well before that. The fact that Nick Walsh got the playoff match with the same team, Willie Collum knows exactly. They know what they're doing with these little stabs, you know. And we need to fight back. We've been speaking about it, Kerr, in the group chat. Celtic have been doing it for years. We need to keep highlighting every single incident, everything about Scottish football. We need to highlight and get it out there for the English media, get it on Sky Sports, get it out there, and we need to fight back big style. And it needs to start from now. So let's see. Patrick Stewart is speaking a good game since the tifo. You know, he's starting to back the fans and back John Brown and back this. He realises he made an absolute arse of that tifo at the Celtic game. So let's see if it continues, and let's see what happens next season, because it's going to be exactly the same. It's going to be the same refs. It's going to be the same bullshit next season. So let's see where Rangers are with these statements when we're 3-4 games into the season, and like Celtic's got a clear red card and the player gets a yellow card, and it's like to sweep it under the carpet. So let's see what happens, mate.
I actually think Rangers were correct in what they said. I think I agree with Ross. I think they had to. I think the time of banter's left. I know what you mean, Ricky, but I think it's like some clubs can think they can say and do what they like, nobody bothers. But as soon as Rangers do something, they're not happy. It doesn't work that way, I'm afraid. So Rangers are right to say it. Rangers are right to monitor. And if it continues, you have to start calling it. It's the only way change will happen. They've been doing it for 20 odd years, saying the referees have been against them. And look how it's worked for them. So you have to keep doing stuff, and statements can be boring, but I think when you come out with statements like that, they can hit a mark, whereas some statements are just pointless. But anyway, we're going to go on to the next thing. Is I see Thelwell's been doing his academy search for an appointment, and it's David McCallum. I mean, I don't know about you too, but come to you, Ross, but I just think that's poor. But he's been there how long? To me, that's just my opinion. I think we could have went further afield to bring somebody in maybe a bit younger, somebody to get the academy moving in the right direction, because for what we pay out for this academy, it's not producing much. And Dave McCallum's been there, so why would you reappoint the same guy who's been there and say, we think he can nurture talent? Surely that's a backward move.
Is it no? He's just taking temporary charge. Have they not said until such times as?
I thought he got appointed. He's just interim then.
I thought I read, mate, that it said that he would be in charge in the interim, but it wasn't official. He was taking it full time. But it's the same as you, Kev. Like it just seems like jobs for the boys, doesn't it? It wouldn't surprise me if that Turkey ends up back as a goalie coach and all, man, just because his dad used to hang about.
Well, he's been given the job full time according to the Rangers rabble.
Nah, listen. If Martin told me the sky was blue, I would go and have a look, mate, to make sure. All right, let me tell you that right now.
It's no full time. It's no. There was rumours that it was full time, and it's 100%.
Not unless it's during the day today. But when I read this morning, it said he'd been put in charge yet.
See, I heard he was given it full time as well.
No. There was rumours that it was full time, and it was bullshit. He's interim. He's been told he's going to continue basically as academy director, as interim until he's got the potential to get it full time, but he's not getting it full time. No, he's potential, but as things stand.
There's Martin give you some love by us.
Always love for Martin. See, just to go back to what you were talking about. See when you're watching the game on Rangers TV and the game's on Hibs TV as well, you're going to have biased pundits, isn't you? Like it's like going to a Rangers pub and watching the game and then getting off your nut when somebody says something you don't like against the other team. Like what?
But I don't mind that. But it's when they come out and they say something against us, but they don't say it against anybody else.
But that's what I'm saying. So when Irvin Welsh says that on Hibs TV, like if it should only be Hibs fans that are watching that anyway. So you rightly never got dead offended by it. Do you know what I'm talking about? So former Browns on Rangers TV commentating for Rangers supporters and giving a passionate opinion of a Rangers fan on an issue, then who should be watching that gets offended? I get it that other fans at other clubs choose to watch Rangers versus Hibs on that channel, but surely Hibs fans would be watching it on Hibs TV. So you're picking and choosing. It's not as if it was said on a national broadcast that on Sky Sports or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know, but I think like
My opinion on that,
they seem to go on Rangers TV just to check up on what Rangers are doing, don't they?
It's the same as every other game. Is it nil by mouth or whatever they're called? But every European game, mate, they just rock up at Ibrox with the wee Seeky recorders wanting to catch folks singing naughty songs and all that. It feels as if, like, for the last X amount of years, Rangers have been absolutely persecuted, by the way. That's what it feels like as a Rangers fan, but you'll find every club feels like that. I've kind of said it on here before. I think Scottish referees are just rubbish. But when it comes to the governing body and they're taking retrospective action, they've got the time to sit and consider their decisions before they make them. And that's when you can start saying, well, hold on a minute, you had a week to attack them for that comment, but you never, and them for that comment, but you've came for us. Why us again?
You're just looking for a level playing field, aren't you? You're not looking for favours, you're just looking for that across the board. Everybody gets treated the same, but like you said, that doesn't happen in Scottish football. It's not happened for a long time in Scottish football. But somebody will probably be listening to this and say, I'm talking nonsense, but that's my opinion. I think Scottish football is run, the governing body's been poor for years, and I think it has to change. People at the top. What's your point, Mickey?
No, there was a Celtic guy on Sky Sports. This is the one, even the mainstream media now is like, what am I listening to? There was a Celtic podcast guy on Sky Sports today saying Rangers fans are raging because they've not got as much money as they thought they were going to have to spend after the takeover. And it's like, how are you bringing these people? How are podcasters that are completely irrational, like getting brought onto Sky Sports to talk like that about like your rival on Sky Sports? You know, the world is going absolutely crazy, mate. And it's but hopefully one of the things the Americans do is rip up Rangers TV and start again, because like for us broads, us bears that are abroad that watch Rangers TV, mate, it's a hard watch. Last season was as bad as it's ever been. I mean, Tom Miller's a brutal commentator, no matter what you're saying. I know he's a Rangers man and everything like that, but the quality and the service they're giving Rangers fans is pathetic. So I hope they're listening to this and they get it sorted out for next season. Bring back Clive Tilsley would be nice with some decent pundits, mate. But Scottish football is going to continue to hate us, and it's like, as I said, we spoke about in the group chat, Rangers need to fight back. We've been lying on our back, letting them tickle our belly for the last, since we basically came back up to the top division. So it's about time that changed. We all know who runs Scottish football. You see it with the rest now, no matter what anyone says with Willie Collum. I see all these Rangers fans, media trying to, it's no corruption, it's not this, it's not that. Nobody's saying that it's completely against Rangers. The rest are completely shit. We all know that. But the standards need to be better. And we can't go through another season and we get to the end of the season and Celtic are top of every single table for less red cards, less yellow cards, less fouls, less sending offs, less everything. You know, if that's the same next season, then come on, there's got to be some answers. There's got to be some questions answered, in my opinion.
It was Ricky, but we're going to the next thing. Ross, I'll say to you, think Martin's still to bring in more staff? Because he's not brought many staff in them. Like Ricky alluded to, he's not got a goalkeeping coach. He's also not got he's not got many coaches next to him. I think he only brought in, was it one? Maybe two? One, I think. So is there other staff members to come in, like a couple of coaches to come in? Because surely we need more than that. Because obviously big is miles away to some clubs, so we've not got him either. So Maurice Ross always gets mentioned, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I would imagine he's going to have to bring in coaches and sports scientists, isn't he? he doesn't appear to have a goalie coach. But if you listen to the rumours, even when McGregor came in for the last few months of the season, it was actually the head of academy goalkeeping that was doing the sessions. McGregor was just kind of there as a presence about the place. But we definitely are going to need a goalie coach. I'd still like to see a proper, dedicated set piece coach. Plus, you need bodies about the place. Yeah, I wonder what the Parks are up to if they could supply a couple of coaches, but they wouldn't be fit for purpose either. So Shirai going away, I think, opens up a space definitely for a kind of general coach. I hear quite a lot of folks saying Russell Martin will look for a sort of Scottish-based local coach, but that I just don't know that that's required. I think as long as you can get a coach that can work with Martin and has got the necessary prerequisites to be able to teach the team to play the way you want them to play and get them to the level of fitness. He definitely said that his assistant manager, who he worked with before at every team, he said in his first interview that he is really data driven with the fitness and he knows where the team need to be at to get the optimum out of them at all the different phases of the game and the season. So if your assistant manager's doing a lot of the fitness side, then who's doing
Did they not bring in a sports coach as well for fitness as well? Did they not bring in somebody else?
They did.
They did. He was on holiday. That guy was on holiday. You've called me a bullshitter and I'm agreeing with you. You've called me out. No, he did. They've brought a fitness coach. So him, and if the boy Shirai's away, you're looking at another first team coach, definitely a goalie coach, and well, that might have changed the day. But I was hoping that they would gut the academy and everything and really look to bring in forward thinking people that are going to be attuned to what Russell Martin wants. I'm a big believer, Kerr, that the academy, if you're playing academy 16s, 18s, and our club's now gone with the sporting director model who is overseeing, so that even if Russell Martin drops out, you get somebody in who wants to play the same brand and style of football. I want our boys and girls, if it happens to be the girls play the same way, I want them learning that before they come through the door at 14 and playing the same way all the way up and training the same. And I don't feel as if we've had that. And I think you notice that when players come in and out of the first team, the likes of Finlay, Curtis, Bailey, Rice, it takes them a few days to settle. Whereas they should be plug and play for the 18s or the 21s or the reserves or the B team or whatever iteration of that second team we're going with this year. That you should be able to just plug and play them, and they should be able to go in and find their way about, know where they should be. Back to that patterns of play and how to receive the ball and where to look for the next pass. That should all flow for the grassroots as soon as they hit 11 asides, right up and through to the first team.
I think it should, and I totally agree with you, but I think that should have been done years ago, and we kept mucking it up, and we kept bringing in other guys, and then guys were leaving, bringing in other guys, but nothing's ever changing. And I think you're right, you're totally right. I mean, they're paying all that money for academy, and I'm not going to say you're going to bring through 3-4 guys every season, but 1 or 2 guys every couple of seasons. That pays for it. Do you know what I mean?
But Karen, the problem is, mate, the club has been an absolute shit show since we got into the top division. There's nobody been running the club from the top. It's been such a bowling club mentality with it's been like different types of managers we've went from one type of manager to another type of manager. The worst thing we did, in my opinion, even during the Beale and all the years, and probably when Beale came in, was not getting rid of Ross Wilson per se, but getting rid of Ross Wilson and not replacing him and just letting managers do what they want for like a couple of seasons. And the whole club has been so disjointed all over the place. It's been an absolute embarrassment. So the thing is, though, what I will say is about Kevin Felwell, his background is youth football and youth academies, and he knows a good youth academy. He was head of youth academy in Wales. He was head of it. He was involved with it at Everton as well. So hopefully, once he gets his feet under the table and he sees what's going on, That's why I wouldn't be too excited about people going mad about David McCallum today. There's loads of people at Rangers that's like jobs for the boys that have been there for years. And it's too early. These guys have only been in the door 3-4 weeks. They kind of fire everyone and say, right, okay, there's your head. They're concentrating on Russell Martin as they should be. They're not interested in the academy right now. It's going on in the background. The women's team is in the background, but their full focus has to be Kevin Felwell was a workaholic. So is Dan Purdy. I know that for a fact. So if these guys are workaholics, they're concentrating on Russell Martin, who's also a workaholic. They're trying to give him the tools going into next season. We can't walk before we can run, mate. We have to do is run before we can walk. We've got to, whatever it is, man, we've got to just calm down a little bit and just let everything sort of like gradually get better. Let the academy, the academy. I liked what David Edgar basically said to them at the press conference. He said, look, the academy's not being fit for purpose. It's absolutely useless. We've not brought through any players. We're not even bringing through players for the Scottish Championship level. That's how shit it is. So we need to get it sorted out. So that these guys know that. They're not silly, you know. They're going to bring, Martin said today, 3 or 4 players are starting on Monday with the first team, just to make up the numbers and that. So they're going to see the quality right away with how these players are with coming from the academy, going into train with the way that he wants to train, which is going to be absolutely supersonic tempo, supersonic pace from day one. And it'll be interesting to see how the academy players cope, and it'll be interesting for Russell Martin as well. And Felwell will be watching as well, so that'll give these guys an idea to see where the club is overall, Kerr.
Just going back to you, Ross, just before we wrap up for the night, Mark's asked me if I would bring in Nisbet. I mean, I've always liked Kevin Nisbet as a player. Millwall, I don't know if they want him back or not, but he wants to stay in Scotland. I know you've always been in the Shankland team the last 10 years or so, but what's your take on Kevin Nisbet?
I wouldn't spend money on Kevin Nisbet. Well, the best striker out with the Old Firm in the league is on a free. Hey, you're not got Nisbet won't be on buttons at Millwall either, so he'll be looking for a decent contract. I think. Listen, he's not even last Christmas. I would have paid $3 million for Shankland, and you can get him for zip the now. I know a lot of people are falling off the Shanks train, but for me, I'm as much on it as I've ever been.
Is he going to West Brom, Ross? Do you know? Or is that just paper talk?
I don't know, mate. I don't know personally, but what I do know is he's obviously been out of contract for 3 weeks now, not getting paid. So you would imagine if he's got solid offers for elsewhere and he's out in Dubai working hard, looking lean, grafting away, he's just get married and stuff, then I'm got to be really open and honest with you. I hope that he's hanging on, because when we eventually move Dessers on, we can hit the button to go and give him what he wants and bring him here.
I agree with you. I hope, but I would also love to see Shankland on the Rangers, but I just can't see it happening. Ross. For some reason, I don't think they will make that move. I don't know why. I just don't see it.
I just think Kerr, and I said this before, and I'll argue it until the coos come home. Shankland would offer you everything Dessers offers you, but he's a better finisher. Yeah. That to me, playing in a Hearts team, we're celebrating. People have actually wrote big posts. Dessers leaving, scored 50 goals in 2 seasons. Shankland scored 70 goals in 3 seasons for Hearts, and one of the seasons he played as a number 10. Shankland. I'm not saying Shankland would be the number 1 striker. I'm not saying he could get into the Europa League and launch and score you goals and change games. If you give Lon Shankland chances, Lon Shankland will score you goals at any level. He scored European goals for Hearts. He scored goals at international for Scotland. He scored in Edinburgh derbies. He's probably scored the most goals against Celtic than anybody else in the league. He seems to score against them every time he plays them. Scores goals against us. people will tell you can't run. I tell you, go back to the last game of the season before last when he outran Goldson and Balogun, was it, and dinked Jack Butland at Tynecastle with his left juke. I think I still think Shankland on a free is an absolute no-brainer. Walter Smith, if Walter Smith, God rest him, was still about, Walter Smith would sign Lon Shankland, and I think that tells you a lot.
I think so myself, and I hear Ricky's disappeared, so I'll answer Mark's question before we head. I think the boy Aaron's coming for Bournemouth. That's hard to answer, Mark, because I've not seen a lot of him. But I've seen him a few times at Norwich and he looked decent. But apart from that, I've not seen a lot of him, so I think we can judge him until we actually see him play for us in the flesh, and we're going to have to give him maybe half a dozen games, 10 games, to see what he offers. But I think on loan, it's a good deal. I don't know if it's an option to buy or an obligation. I don't know what one it is. But Ricky maybe knows more. What's your take on Aaron's, Ricky?
I think it's I think it's a loan deal. I think Leeds were looking at him to start with.
Well, that Mark says will he hit the ground running because he only played 5 games last season.
No, that doesn't matter, mate. I mean, it's about getting him in early, getting that pre-season in, and that's why I'm so pissed off about John Souttar. Like, Ross hit the absolute nail on the head with John Souttar. It's not about, okay, he's going to be fit for Panathinaikos. John Souttar carries a bit of timber. He's built like me. I'm built the same as him, and I'm naturally a right fat bastard, right? And he needs to be training and fit. He needs to be pre-season. He needs to be doing these long runs, these hard runs, just to be fit. And if we can get this kid in and get him during the pre-season, I'm excited that with the first signing as a right back, by the way, because it's been a bit slow. But for me, that's an exciting sign that if we're going to rebuild the squad, start with a right back, like Ross says, Tav coming in now and again as an emergency centre-back, emergency right-back when he's needed, because Sterling is not going to stay fit. We know Sterling's not going to stay fit. So, for me, get him in pre-season, get him entwined the way Russell Martin wants to play. Souttar should have been there on Monday, and that would have been, you're starting to rebuild the defence. The spine of the team is what we need next after bringing in your right-back, your right winger. If the right winger is next, now we need to work on the spine of the team, and that's exciting. Very exciting, because we're all a bit worried. Oh my God, we're going to be starting the season with Butland, Tavernier, Dessers up front, and we're not going to win the league with 8 players. Pep Guardiola couldn't win the league with 8 players, so it's exciting that if we're bringing in new players, this kid's young as well. He's only 25, Kerr, so he's got a lot to. Rangers is a massive club for him to get fit and really kick on, and it's exciting to get that sort of players. It's a level above what we've got just now. So if we can get 5 or 6 of these in, that's what we need to be challenging Celtic. No, we don't like. We're excited about Josh Mulligans and stuff like that, but that's not going to challenge Celtic. Celtic's got better players than us. We need to get up to that level, and that sort of signing gets us up to that level.
I agree with you, Ricky. So anyway, guys, that's us for this evening. Been on here, been on for over an hour after a muck up at the start, and myself and Ricky going to get on to the show. I'm mucking up at this side, Ricky's mucking up at his side, but I'd just like to say thanks to Ross for joining us. I didn't ask him to come on tonight because he's always out on a Friday. He's always out on a Friday, so he can't do a Friday.
He saved the show, man. He saved the show.
I was actually over in Braehead doing a bit of last minute holiday shopping. So I was like, I came back and I just needed some time with the boys, you know what I mean? I'd been dragged about the bikini section of Primark out at Braehead for a good
Did you buy yourself one?
I bought myself 2, man, but one of them was like cheese wire. So it was stinging up my arse, the thong, you know what I mean? It was digging right in between the arse cheeks.
Are you guys safe in the UK? Are you safe? I hear the temperatures are going to hit like you might have hit 30 degrees, and you're all going to like combust, and melt and explode. Is what the media is telling you, man. It's like it's never been above 30 degrees in the UK.
That's only a day in the morning. Back in Sunday, it's raining again.
I know it's like, but this used to be called summer, and like Gary said, it used to be called summer. Enjoy yourself. Now it's like, oh my God, we're all going to die. It's so crazy.
It's been more in the day. But anyway, Ross, you enjoy your holiday. You and Cole enjoy your holiday, and we'll see you when you get back. Ricky, you enjoy. You're back home, so enjoy yourself, and I'll catch you next Friday. And hopefully, we'll catch
No
everybody else
problem,
next
boys.
Friday. Thank you for joining this evening. Goodbye.
I'll catch you next week. I'm not away until a week Monday, so
That's good, Ross. Joe Ross will be back on next Friday as well. So as Ricky's words, will be a football. Catch you all later.